I didn't. It was a unique opportunity. Obviously, like how stupid is this guy, right? But I knew what we had coming back from West Virginia. At the time, West Virginia, we were better than them. Now, obviously, what Nick has done there is just second to none. But that wasn't an easy decision, certainly, because Alabama's Alabama. But I didn't look back at it twice.
How close were you? Real question, because I think the rumors that got to the players about that, because we had a meeting that morning as well. After the ESPN thing, we had a meeting that you called team meeting or whatever. And we were going in there. We assumed it was about the thing we saw on ESPN last night. And then you come in there, okay, you bring your family in there, and you're up in the front, and there's media in there. And you took your time for a little bit. And it was basically like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, I'm not leaving. Basically, it was like one of those situations. It really was. And I remember all of us looking around, going like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then the meeting was. You cut the meeting. It was basically just like that. And we were all just like, "What the hell? We have no idea what just happened." I think we want. That we were being told. And obviously, once something starts in a locker room, it just goes. So who knows who brought it in? But the rumor was you didn't know if you wanted to take the Alabama job or not while you were coming into the meet, like maybe an hour before the meeting.
Oh, yeah, ain't that so much drama bullshit?
Yeah, it was awesome. I want to let you know when it was going around, it was awesome because I thought about you going. I thought about
drama. It was just.
Hold on, Coach. Coach, hold on. I thought of you, okay, like walking into that team meeting, just being like, "Fucking, I'm staying here." Like, like that massive of a decision. Like that was what we started doing. Like we were like, imagine Coach or Richard just walking in and going. Like we thought you were like that savage of a dude to do that. Was that's not?
I could have. Yeah, if I would have thought of that, I would have.
Was it close though? How close?
It was. I had a couple meetings with them. I had a meeting with them in New York. They had offered the job, but I said, "Listen, I never told them I was coming. I never hinted that I was coming." And how I got out there, who knows? But certainly, when I got back to West Virginia, we had some, a lot of people that said, "Coach, we're going to step up even more," because I wanted some facilities improvements, stuff for the staff, and some promises were made. And I'm like, "This is great." And so, I didn't go there, and most of the things that they promised, some of them they did, but a year later, some of the things that were promised weren't done. But nonetheless, I didn't regret it at all at the time. I was glad to be able to be with you guys one more year.
Did you think at all whenever the Michigan job came, because of how it ended there with 13-9? I mean, I had the worst game of my life. It was not a good night. Worst night of my life, probably.
In that game, it just pisses us all off. I mean, we didn't play well. I didn't coach well. It was the worst night of my football life. But that had nothing to do at all with any coaching decisions. Certainly not the Michigan thing. So that pisses me off. People say, "Well, they get, if anything else, I want to come out and win a national championship to prove that."
Well, that's what I wanted to say though. Was there ever a thought like, you know what? I got a guy still in Pat. Who knows if Steve's coming back? But we got Noel coming back. Like we still got. We got to.
That was the huge part of it. That's why it was so torn. And hadn't been like the things that was promised the year before. Had they delivered all of that, like they said?
Yeah.
And
great.
Have they not just again this young new administration would have just dismissed it and said, "Listen, we've done all we can for you. Take it or leave it." I'm trying to win a
fucking hit sticker.
And what I'm fighting for obviously helps me, but it wasn't anything. It helps our program, it helps West Virginia, and so that was the frustrating part about all that. And yeah, you're right. I think the program was in good shape for sure.
As somebody who, if somebody disrespects me, I will hold it against them forever. I can see how, whenever you're told something's going to happen, and we continue to produce the way we produce. I mean, that's the golden era of Mountaineer football. I mean, Pat won 5 bowl games if you count the Senior Bowl, 2 of them being BCS games. I mean, it's just that run of there. I can see how, like here we are on January 13th, 2021, and I think I fully understand why you wanted to slap him in the mouth and say, "Oh, I'm out of here." I can play, and also it's Michigan too. I mean, there's billionaires that are just strolling out of cafes up there. Yeah, that's a whole different world.
But that was a frustrating part because we had built it. I think everybody, players, coaches, staff, the fans, all have built it to this point. And I'm going to take one more step so not only could we win it, but we could stay there where we were at because we were in a pretty good spot. Oh my gosh, So that was disheartening a little bit. That wasn't the only reason, but that was the main reason why I'm like, okay, gosh, Michigan's got a brand name. I'll just take that same kind of culture and bring it there. And again, that culture took a couple years to take hold and didn't have enough time to finish it. But nonetheless, it was a leap we made to move on. And now I'm at a point where, it's I get an opportunity to coach my son, my daughter, and I are doing podcasts with you guys. Come get us visit on the Hard Edge Football Podcast.
Would love
to get to ball a little bit.
You, the final thing before and I can't thank you enough for your time here, man. I really look forward to this. And I didn't know which time, when it should happen. You getting a new job, I think it was just the perfect time, so I appreciate you doing this. Your offense, how Mummy had the air raid offense, right? He's the father of the air raid offense. The spread offense, though, that is all over college and the NFL right now. Now, granted, there are air raid pieces in the NFL, but there's a lot of spread. That's kind of like, I don't want to speak out of pocket here, but were you one of the founders of that? Was that your offense? How is what you're seeing right now all over the place, you think, has been influenced by an offense you created at, I forget what small school it was?
It's a Columbus State. They say that necessity is a mother of invention. Well, 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, when I was a coach at Columbus State, it was a perfect job to take because they were 0-10 before we got there and got shut out 7 times. And so we get the first down and got a standing ovation. I'm like, shit, this is the best place in the world. At the time, I'm like, okay, it's late. What are we going to do? And I always said, defense got to go down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to coach offense. What's some of the hardest offense? Then it always seems like anytime somebody went in their 2-minute drill, they go up and down the field. I'm like, why don't they do that the whole game, right? So I thought, okay, well, we're going to be substitute no auto, shotgun, and then do a 2-minute drill the whole game. And that was the birth of this type of offense. Then the zone read came a couple years into that, some of the other stuff that we're doing, and here 25 years later, we've tweaked it a lot, we've done some different stuff, but the base of it started out of necessity at Glenville State, and it's been neat. The NFL was the slowest to change, to get guys in the gun, do some athletic quarterback type of stuff, some zone read stuff, but now you see it both on Saturdays and Sundays, which is kind of neat.
Well, ULM 0-10, I'm assuming they did get shut out a couple times. Can't wait to see the standing O you get down there. Thanks for joining us, Coach. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Pat. Keep it touch. Appreciate it. Proud of you, bro.
Hey, go dominate down there. Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Rodriguez. His cops were not.
Shut up later.
He was right.
Fuck up here, motherfucker.
Did you get tossed from the game? Who, him?
Yeah.
I don't know how. He almost. Oh, fuck. He almost fought. There was a guy down at USF who used to run sprints before the game. The Bulls. Blonde-haired guy. I forget his name. Anyway, I think him and Coach Rod potentially had a couple moments where we thought they were going to fight. Damn, we were pumped.
Yeah.
We were because I think the guy was a pretty big guy and did some stuff. I don't know if they ever did, or if we were just misreading the situation. But there were some exchanged words, if you know what I'm talking about, whatever it is. And we're like, oh my God, this guy has no idea. Rich Rod is about to pummel him. Rod's on the goddamn stair stepper every single morning, like 5:30 a.m., just going as high, maybe 2 Eiffel Towers, and then coming back down. And he was a very, very intense guy. But he is hysterical. If you can add hilarity with intensity, that's what practices were. And there were some moments where you're scared to death of what's going on. But then whenever you recount it, it's like, oh my God.
Fuck!
Things I've never heard him say that way.
Fuck!
I might maybe Jim Levitt was coach.
Yeah, was he younger whenever we were
At the time, yeah, and he wore the visor with the spiky hair out of the
yeah. I believe him and Coach had it. And then him and, rest in peace, I believe, Maryland coach, Ralph
Friedrich.
Yeah. I believe they had a hilarious interaction as well after that game.
So those are both actually game and almost fought.
Yeah, I don't know if they're after or before. The Ralph one I think was after. The Levitt one was maybe before, I forget. But obviously, whenever you're winning a bunch,
you gotta be fucking me in the asshole.
Especially, I don't know how. I would love to hear a coach on this episode because he probably dropped some chest shit talk in the middle of if I had a guess.
To a ref.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
It's wild that he's talking about that West Virginia wouldn't give him 50,000 for his coaches.
All of them.
Yeah.
Not one coach.
I looked up Alabama's coaching staff between all of them is $7.75 million, Well, AJ just talked about the other day how Fickle's losing his coaching staff because the bigger schools will offer to pay them more money. Rich Rod, West Virginia, Fickle, Cincinnati seems like a very similar situation there.
We always heard that there was like very similar, by the way. Watching the Cincinnati teams, I think that is why I was so kin to them, because it felt like they were kind of like us. You know what I mean? And by the way, our first game against the SEC was Georgia in a bowl game. Now, granted, ours is a BCS game. This one's not. So I saw them winning that game. It's like, okay, here we go. This is literally the exact same squad. Got an athletic quarterback who's very good. It seems to have a defense that hums a little bit. They seem to like each other a lot. And Fickle's a great head coach. And then, hey, don't let history repeat itself, Bearcats. Yeah, you're all Cincinnati's got. The Bengals stink. Come on. Fucking sub them out, dude. Get them some money down there.
So you didn't know about that $50,000?
No, we had no idea. We heard that there was a potential conversation behind the scenes with him and either the athletic director or the president, but I didn't know that it was just that. Like, I had no idea it was like that. But the only thing we had was, we had a hell of a fucking team left. It's still another year. You know what I mean? We had another year. So a lot of us were like, no matter what was happening behind the scenes, you have to come back. But now that I'm an adult, like, if I was just, hey, listen, I just put your fucking university, okay? I put this university, the school that I went to, on the goddamn map. I would like to help out the boys a little bit. I would like to do some other things. We've done all we can. It's like, hey, fuck you. How about that?
Think about 50K is what, 2 kids' tuitions, or maybe 1/4 of ticket sales at a game.
Or, by the way, you can just, fake the admission price just for 1 year. It's probably one person.
I was gonna say, I feel like finding 50K really isn't that difficult in the college football program, especially one that's winning BCS bowl games.
And I assume that he could. So I think that's why Rich Rod was like, you could do this. You're choosing not to. Is this how this is going to be forever? And Michigan goes, but boy, we were confused. Like, bro, come on, bro. I'm getting death threats right now. Can we come back and win this thing?
The first down run got 5. Here's 2nd and 5. Singletary again. And he'll take it into the end zone for a Buffalo touchdown. Devin Singletary, his 3rd touchdown now on the year. And the Bills have cut it to within a score. That's a score you felt they had to have here in the 3rd quarter to get back in this game.
And you know that there's an emphasis on their side. Hey, we know this. We know where we are. But sometimes that binds you up.
All right.
You try too hard and you don't get the score. A perfect combination of urgency,
is broken,
yet relaxed enough to get it done.
Raiders extra point right down the middle. And that'll make our score 14-7.
Alright, football in color.
Chilly mornings? Start your car right from your phone. Ford SUVs are built for weather. Lease Escape for as low as $179 a month, or get Explorer with 0 for 72 months plus $20.50 cash.
Somebody from the CIA.
Way to get in there, Murph. Way to get in there.
Because they were looking for secretaries, and I actually was accepted to work for the CIA and had a date to go to Washington, D.C. And a friend of mine called and said, there's a new football team in Boston. And I called the Boston Globe, got the name of the general manager. And as part of the interview, he put out a piece of paper and put 11 circles on the piece of paper and said, this is the offense of the football team.
Got him! Good job, Oliver! You are my homie. I'm gonna get you the leading sacks. You are gonna be the defensive player of the year. Watch.
So I started in June 1960.
The sack makes this job much more difficult. It's now second down and 22 yards to go.
Our house was set up the way our antenna was turned to ABC and NBC.
Get the fuck out of
I used to
here.
have to beg my dad, let's go up on the roof, let's turn the antenna so I can see the CBS Eagles game at the Cardinals or wherever they were. It got to be too much of a chore, and my dad convinced me just, watch the other channel, ABC, and there's a game on there. The thing that drew me towards it were people like George Blanda, Billy Cannon. Then it became less important to watch the Eagles.
I remember growing up in Annapolis and sitting on the floor, black and white TV, of course. After watching the first game, either the Redskins or the Colts, then the second AFL game would come on. It was a way to spend the rest of the Sunday afternoon and a way to postpone homework.
At the time when the AFL started, I was like 22, 23 years old. A lot of guys that were playing were friends of mine. And the guys that I played in college with, the guys that I played against. That's what the AFL was initially. More opportunities for players to play. And then as I started in coaching, there was more opportunities for coaches to coach.
I never forget the first meeting we had in 1960. I said, listen, I do not know how long the American Football League is going to last. But I'm going to guarantee you this. We are going to be...
Oh, just held me up long enough.
...of the American Football League.
The question is, can this offense step up and make that play? Because that's been an issue for them in this game.
The only history book that concerned the founders of the American Football League was the one they were writing.
Just keep a trickling the ball down the field, boys.
One that offered a perfect reflection of its time. How fitting that it began on a jet ride.
What a game, Singletary.
Clouds above a fruitful nation.
I was just starting to think I was going to replace you with Yeldon, and we had a big game.
The old way was not the only way. You get it done.
You're not going to be with us next year. You might not agree with
His words required measure. His need was sound and firm. His name was Lamar.
You get your desirability up with a big game.
Whose lives he changed forever.
I think probably the
All right.
Singletary touchdown run.
when she was pregnant with me, because that's just something that's of interest.
Lamar Hunt. Mad respect for Lamar Hunt.
14 down as he sends this one away.
Rooting for his Chiefs this week.
One of the first sports entrepreneurs, as we would call them now. He had a notion of sports as an entertainment business that preceded most of his peers. This was a guy who jumped to the AFL from a failed venture in miniature golf franchise. A bogey of a business plan wouldn't hurt Lamar Hunt, who at any point could have chosen to fall back on his family's oil fortune. What pumped through Lamar's veins was his love for the spectacle of sport. At age 26, he watched the NFL title game on television.
Barking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts.
There, in a black and white image, he saw a full-color feature in professional football. A growing game in a nation coming of age.
Told you, Oliver. I told you, buddy. Make you defensive player of the year, buddy. You already defensive player of the week.
The late 50s were a time of tremendous growth. There was more free time, there was more money, and America is moving out to the suburbs, and they are starting to enjoy the spoils of victory in 2 world wars. As all this is happening, the owners of the NFL are really interested in expanding. They hadn't stuck together through World War, through a challenge from the All-American Football Conference.
Now that the pie was finally getting larger, they weren't really interested in
like the fourth game of the year, he got 10 sacks. Ed Oliver, baby.
We furnish football now for free through television. Expansion can only weaken the personnel. Lamar Hunt wanted an NFL franchise, but the owners of the NFL told him the NFL wasn't going to expand. The only way he was going to get into the league was to buy a franchise. And the only franchise that was even considered to be for sale were the Chicago Cardinals. And he goes down to talk to the owner of the Cardinals in Miami, Walter Wolfner. And at one point, Wolfner boasted, look, Bud Adams down in Houston wants a team. There's people in Denver. There's people in Minneapolis. All these places want an NFL team. I don't need to deal with you. So Lamar Hunt shakes his hand, gets on a plane from Miami back to Dallas.
And then the thought occurred to me. It was literally like a light bulb going off. Hey, if all of these people, me included, want to have teams in a new league or in pro football, why wouldn't the new league succeed? I asked myself that question, and then I thought, well, it will.
He gets some airline stationery and etches out the plans for this new league. This is how many teams, this is what the schedule's like, this is what the budget's going to be like. And then, typical Lamar Hunt, he gets this great idea and tells nobody. And spends the next few months just very studiously, very carefully planning out how he's going to begin this new football league.
A new league was the least of the NFL's problems. Congress wanted NFL Commissioner Bert Bell to explain why his league should not be prosecuted as a monopoly. So when Bell learned of Hunt's plans, he decided it was time everyone knew about the budding American Football League.
And he asked if he could announce our league in these hearings. And he was doing it to get some heat off himself. They were wanting to know, why isn't the NFL expanding? And so I said, sure, you go ahead and do that. And it got enormous attention because Bert Bell, in effect, announced that there was going to be a new league. Well, that was a lot better than having Lamar Hunt announce there was going to be a new league.
The most exciting new development on the American sports scene came to life in 1960 with the birth of the American Football League. Teams at New York, Buffalo, Boston, Denver, Oakland, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Houston.
I was in the locker room with Cleveland Browns, and Paul Brown got up and said, there's a new league starting. Don't pay any attention to it. It's not going to succeed. It's a bunch of sons of rich guys that, don't know anything about football.
Everyone in the National Football League took a pretty much negative attitude towards the new league. But underneath all of it, I thought it would give us a chance to get higher salaries because now we had competition for the NFL. Before that, the only place we could go was to Canada. We had no leverage because I didn't want to go to Vancouver.
Just enough time.
The NFL was paying attention. Its owners made Hunt and Houston's Bud Adams an offer. Abandon your plans for a new league, and you can each have an expansion franchise in the old one. When both Texans refused, the NFL changed its approach.
In late August, Lamar is back in Dallas, and he gets a call on a Saturday afternoon from Associated Press reporter who wants to ask him if he's got any response to the news out of Houston.
Suddenly, the NFL, which had no interest whatsoever in expansion, started a franchise in Dallas, Texas, which happens to be where Lamar Hunt has his team. They also stole one of the AFL's planned initial franchises.
You can order your tickets now from the Minnesota Viking ticket office.
Minnesota was to be a part of the AFL, and the NFL turned around and offered that same owner group.
And Oliver, coming for your bitch asses.
He was now a fight. They were going to try to destroy the AFL before it could start.
Why some say I'm going to choose this as our goal. That may be well asked. Why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? Why does Bryce play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
Almost impossible. You go to the moon? Yeah, and I'm going to become the Dalai Lama.
Come on, defense.
They're going to the moon and just decay and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Communicated loud, clear. We can do collectively almost anything if we set our minds to it. This was an age of daring.
God damn it.
Shoot for the moon. The American Football League would aim for the NFL and do it with a former fighter pilot as its commissioner.
Most people thought it probably should be football.
It's up to you.
Offense. He's a person of significant national prominence. He was one of the great heroes of World War II. There's a Marine Corps pilot, knocked down 26 Japanese planes. He was a big, good-looking guy. He was governor of South Dakota. Questioning went along these lines. You ever played football? I said, oh yes, I played in college. Well, have you ever coached? And I said, my coaching was fighter pilot. If you lost, you got killed. But I don't think you really want to coach. What you want is somebody that can open every door in the United States. And I have the confidence that I'm the guy that can do that. And Lamar said, say, are you interested in a commissioner's job?
The commissioner of the American Football League, Mr. Joe Fox. Let's welcome Mr. Joe Fox.
He had energy, he had charisma, he had drive. People would call the league offices and the secretary would say, oh, Commissioner Foss is en route. That meant he was flying his own plane somewhere.
I traveled 250,000 miles that first year. I went to all the training camps. I think there were only a half a dozen guys that could do more push-ups than I could. Almost 500 push-ups.
He would go around and make speeches to this Chamber of Commerce or this group of Shriners and talk up the American Football League.
He was an outstanding representative for the American Football League in carrying our story to the American public.
This is it. We'll let the ball players do the talking today. Merry Christmas to you all.
The league fell like a gift from the sky into the lives of men like Paul Lowe. After the NFL's 49ers cut him, Lowe was employed in the mailroom at Baron Hilton's charge card company. In 1960, Hilton founded the AFL's Los Angeles franchise. Naturally, the credit card man named his team the Chargers. When Hilton heard of the potential talent in his mailroom, Lowe went from sorting letters to reading fan mail and became the #2 all-time rusher of the league that wanted to make football fun.
Right now, had it not been for the American Football League.
Timeout as the clock will stop with 33 seconds remaining. The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. They'll go right back to Singletary. It's a 4-yard pickup there, and it leaves him with 3rd and 5. Now the Bills are going to use the first.
My name's Buster Ramsey, and I've come to coach the Buffalo Bills. What do you say? Let's get started.
Let's talk about humble beginnings. When we watched films, we would hang up a sheet, a white sheet, and we would sit on milk cartons, and we would watch the films, and we'd go out on the field and practice. In the AFL's early days, some teams were a bit threadbare. Denver couldn't afford to outfit its players, so practice gear was strictly BYO. The game uniforms they were given were UGLY.
Mustard-colored jerseys with chocolate brown pants and those vertical striped socks that we wore. People would laugh at you. They would make. They said, we feel sorry for you. Y'all have to wear stuff like that.
You can't see the striped socks in this footage of the AFL's first game, but watch closely and you'll see Denver's Al Carmichael scoring the first touchdown in league history. At the start, the new league wasn't always easy on the eyes. Whether it was the uniforms, the game films...
Came back for the win, baby!
Home to Coach Sandy Ball's New York Titans.
The worst damn place I ever saw. They hadn't been run down. They didn't clean it up or anything. They just sit and go out on the field. I've seen all the big cities I want to see, and it's all because of New York. I'm a country boy, and I like the country. I want to walk out in the yard and take a leak. I want to walk out in the yard and take a leak.
To make its grass greener, the AFL needed all the help it could get.
I had to go to Dallas, Texas, July the 1st of 1960. And we had 129 guys there. And I noticed at the end of practice there was a guy come out there every day and he would water the field. Later I found out it was Lamar Hunt.
These players have got the choice. For the first time in, I guess, 10 years, they have a choice of where they can go play.
Lamar Hunt's humility impressed everyone he met, sometimes in stark contrast to the NFL's approach.
Pittsburgh drafted me in the NFL. Buddy Parker was a guy, him and Bobby Lane came to my house, drunk. And on my front porch, about 5:30, woke me up. So we gonna draft you this morning. They were so drunk, they were holding each other up in front of my house, saying, "The hell with that NFL." I don't think they knew my dad was a minister. He went out front. He said, "Well, you up." My dad was a big old black guy. Talk with a deep voice. "You won't be going to Pittsburgh." I said, "Yes, sir."
The Reverend Haynes was far more impressed when he met Lamar Hunt, and so Abner signed with the AFL's Dallas Texans. Signing players was just part of Hunt's effort to build a team that could battle the rest of the AFL on the field, and that off it could compete with the NFL's Cowboys.
I took a trip to Dallas and slept in a prince's palace.
In the early 60s, Texas was known nationally as sort of a place for millionaires, entrepreneurs, big spending, big hats, big hair. A lot of people driving around with Cadillacs with big fins. Suddenly, in 1960, there's two professional football teams appear out of nowhere in Dallas. And you pretty much picked.
Injuries impaired the Cowboys' offense, but they still managed to hold their own against the toughest competition in the world.
The Cowboys were from the Lord